Tell us a little bit about your experience just coming off the Olympics.
I had a lot of fun out there. You know, you try to blend because it's the biggest sport event in the world. I think there's a big mental portion of competing at the Olympics. That's more than physical, but mental is a physical battle.
You weren't the fastest.
No.
You weren't the tallest.
No.
You weren't the most athletic.
At any point.
But God's love, right?
Yeah. Had a self-belief that whatever I set my mind to, whatever kind of work I was trying to do, it was going to work.
Spend 40 days and nights on Noah's Ark or 40 years wandering in the desert.
I think I did see this in passing. Modern day, I'm on the Ark.
If we trust and believe, we know in faith, it shall be. It's in the evidence. It's in the evidence. It's in the evidence. In the evidence.
Hey family, welcome to In the Evidence, and I'm your host, Ahmarie Holmes. On our podcast, we highlight evidence of Jesus Christ, one testimony at a time. And today, I have the pleasure of talking with a friend of mine, a former trainer of mine, Morgan Wells, man.
What's up? What's up? Make some noise, y'all. Woo.
Not clapping it up for yourself. But thank you. No, seriously. Thank you for coming on. I know you had a busy week. You just came back from the Olympics, but we'll get into that. But that's major. For those who don't know, Mo is the director of professional and elite sports at the Sports Academy in Frisco, Texas. He is the coach to big stars like Ja Morant, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Gervonta Davis, and Deebo Samuel, just to name a few. My personal favorite client of yours is gonna be Lay, right? And that's
everybody's favorite.
Everybody's favorite.
Everybody's favorite.
She is our 100-meter hurdler for Team USA at this past Paris Olympics. And tell us a little bit about your experience just coming off the Olympics.
I had a lot of fun out there. You know, you try to blend because it's the biggest sport event in the world, right? So you try to get a good blend of fun, being in the moment, but still realizing that you're there for a task. And that's easier said than done. It's like, I made the Olympics. I'm a Team USA coach, Olympic coach. My athletes, they're Olympic athletes. It takes like a week or so for them to get over that feeling and them to really realize like, oh, dang, we were here for a job. Like, you know, so I think there's a big mental portion of competing at the Olympics. That's more than physical, but mental is a physical battle. So, but overall, it was a great experience. I enjoyed myself. I got to do a lot of the fun things with not only track and field, but also USA basketball. So like I told you yesterday, there's never really failures when you get to go to something that big. So I think that it was a huge success, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it was your first one, right?
In person, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes,
first one.
Yes, but not
Paris.
first athlete.
First full-time athlete,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Nice.
My first coach of record athlete at the Olympics. Yep.
Nice. That's amazing. So first coach of athlete at the Olympics, right? Coming from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yep. North Louisiana.
Right? Small town.
Small town.
Did you ever envision that for yourself as a child?
I didn't. I knew I was going to be destined to do some big things. Right. So I knew the direction that I wanted to go. I didn't know how I would get there. And I mean, that's life itself. You never really know. You can make all these plans for yourself, but God kind of leads you in a way to say, this is what I have for you. So I kind of mapped out my roadmap as best as I could, being the architect of my story. And it just, you know, like we always try to progress, but progression is never really just a linear thing. It's a lot of ups and downs. So especially coming from where I come from, that's what a lot of it was.
A lot of, ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah, up and down hills.
Hurdles.
Some hills downhill are bigger than others, you know, and then you ride the wave for a while and come out on top.
Yeah, and that has been a testament to your life, coming out on top, right?
100%.
Definitely. We see God in that throughout your whole career.
Yeah.
You came from a single parent home, right?
Yep.
Raised by your mother and your grandmother.
Yep.
How did that shape you as a young man, right? What are some things you went through?
I think you have to, being raised in a single parent household, that's already a feat in itself, you know, no matter what kind of economic background that your parents have, or parent has. You know, coming from where I come from, it was even tougher because you're trying to navigate life as a young man, a young teenager, growing up, trying to win. There's so many distractions, right? And in Frisco, it's not a big city. So there's so many different ways. There's more ways to do negative things than there are ways to do positive things where I'm from. When you can get into something positive, you try to hold on to it as much as possible. And for me, that was sports, you know, and it ended up working out, thankfully.
That was sports for you. And I think you mentioned yesterday, you played a lot of sports growing up,
Yes.
right?
So my first sport was baseball. And then I went into football. Then I got into soccer, basketball. I didn't start running track until later on in life, like kind of 8th grade. And then, but really competitive in the 10th grade. So up until that point, I thought I was the next LaDainian Thompson. So I thought I was going to have an NFL career, stopped growing. So that kind of got cut short.
No pun intended.
You know, literally got cut short. But I have always been pretty intelligent, you know, to my own standard. And I leaned on that, you know, having good common sense, having good book smarts, and just kind of combining all of that together to get up out my city. Yeah.
What did your spiritual upbringing look like as a child?
I grew up in a couple different kinds of church. Obviously, there's different types of religion. We know that. I grew up my early life in a Baptist church. You know, for a kid, that can be a lot. We don't really know what's going on. You're in a Baptist church, you really don't know what's going on. Like, when you're like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't really know what's going on. Then went Church of God in Christ, and that's where most of my life was spent, from like probably like 5th grade or so up through high school, you know. And then I found my own way. We talked a little bit about this before, finding my own way to have my own spiritual journey, being in my religion, finding messages that resonated with me, you know, with different speakers and churches. And, you know, so that journey also ebbed and flowed throughout my life, because you find yourself, you know, and different experiences in life take you to different places on that spiritual journey as well.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because we do experience that, right? I was raised in the church, but from a standpoint of my grandmother and my aunts. And so as I grew up, there were moments I found Christ for myself. I knew him as a kid, you know?
Right.
And I had that like innocent relationship. I didn't really know or experience him for who he was.
Right.
And so as I became older, you know, college, hitting the ground.
Yeah. The ground hit me. Yeah.
Not out. And having to get to know him for myself. Yeah. So I really love that you mentioned that, because that's the reality of it, even when you grow up.
Yeah, 100%. Nothing is straightforward, right? As much as we want to be picture perfect and try to be like, oh, I'm this person, I'm that person, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So stuff happens. Like I said, you get distracted. Certain things happen in life that draw you even closer, even if you have a close relationship with God. Certain things draw you even closer, you know, and they pull you through, you know, certain times of tribulation. So that's why we want to be thankful for the highs and the lows at all times. Yeah.
To go back to sports, right? So you said you didn't start until late, like 8th grade, right?
Right.
What did that look like? Were you like the man? Were you good?
I have never been the man. So in sports, I've always been the hard worker. I don't just work hard occasionally. Like, I'm an actual real life hard worker. So at any point, all points of my life in sports, I had to work harder. I was undersized always. So I always had to work harder than the next man to get a starting position. Like, you know, in 8th grade, I talked about it. Like, I didn't even make the track team in 8th grade. Like, they kind of put me on the team in 8th grade. And then I became the only one that could hop over a hurdle. Me going further in my career, I ended up running 400 hurdles, 110 hurdles. But, you know, so I kind of forged my way there, you know, and shoot, even in high school, I remember I went to a really prominent track school in Louisiana, and, you know, we'd have to have runoffs every week, because when you go to track meets, you can only have 2 people in an event. And we had like 4 or 5 hurdles. I'd have to race for my life every week at practice, just to, all right, top 2 people that race at practice, y'all get to run in the meet. Like, I remember that, like my early years. Now, when I got really good, it wasn't a competition, but it was, like we said, ebbs and flows, just having to work harder than the next guy.
That's good too. I love that. specifically because I'm remembering the scripture, Joshua 1:9, right? So be strong and courageous, right? Don't be afraid and do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God goes with you, right? And so basically being the underdog, right?
Yeah. And you could easily get discouraged.
Right, easily.
Yeah.
And so I know yesterday you said it was basically a pity, right? How you got on track team.
100%.
So go into that a little bit because even that was like bonus.
So at any point, like I said, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. My life hasn't been perfect, right? So I went to one middle school where I played football. I played football and basketball. I was a bad little kid. Like I was bad. Like my mama tried to like disguise the fact that I was bad, but I was always smart. I was smarter than everybody. So I was bad. So my first middle school I got put out of. Okay. So I got put out of my first middle school. Then I had to go to my neighborhood school, which was like, God forgive me, Turner, but it was a terrible middle school, you know? So at that school, you had to try out for everything. Basketball, football, and I was really good at football. So I made the football team instantly. I was a starter. Okay. And basketball did make it. No surprise. Sorry, Ja. And track and field, I didn't make the team either. You had to try out for that. And it was me and this other kid, a minority. At that school, he was a minority. And neither one of us made it out of everybody. It was like the only two people that didn't make it. Okay. So we went to the teacher's office and was like, what's up, bro? Like, put us on, like, we ain't make it. Are you sure? He was like, oh, I just left y'all off. He know, like, and I've talked to him like in recent years. Like, nice. He know that we didn't make the team. But, and then I finally got out there and was able to hurdle and was a pretty decent hurdler and then transitioned on to high school. Yeah.
That's good. That was boldness. Yeah, 8th grade? Yeah. You going to the teacher like, hey, bro. Sir. Hello?
Excuse me. I know you in here.
You messed up. Why I'm not on this? I didn't make the cut. Yeah. We stood in the line. We waited to see
I
the
did
name.
it. I raced everybody. Like, what's up, bro? So, yeah. And it worked out.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. And it worked out. And it sets the tone for your story, right?
Yeah, literally.
How you got into track and field, going on to high school and then college, right? I think what I love, too, about that is how you weren't the fastest. No. You weren't the tallest. No. You weren't the most athletic.
At any point.
At any point. Yeah. But God's love, right? Yeah. So it never has to be by our strength, but by his. Yeah, 100%. So where he says you're not enough, where the world says you're not enough, because we're never going to be enough, right? We won't add up to it. But he said, with me, you could do anything. Right. And I love what you said yesterday is your approach was like, why wouldn't it work?
100%. That's my whole life. And it's not even like I had to intentionally think that way. Mm-hmm. It was just I know this is going to work. Mm-hmm. You know, I wouldn't call it like an arrogance or anything like that. I was just so confident and had a self-belief that whatever I set my mind to, whatever kind of work I was trying to do, it was going to work.
So you're in middle school and you're going off to high school now. How did that process look for you?
So going to high school. So once again, I was from I lived in an underprivileged side of town. And in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, my parish, you can get something called an M&M transfer, which means put an application so you can go to school out of district. Okay. So my mom did that. Went to school out of district, long bus rides every day. So that ended up happening. So I was able to go to a better school, better school. They have more resources. So it was still a public school. So I went across town with that school, but that school is known for sports. Okay. Fun fact, I was also in the band in middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
What instrument?
I played all percussions.
Okay.
Snare drum mostly, bass drum, cymbals, all that stuff.
You still play?
No.
Could very you, musical. If you had to?
If I had a drum in front of me, I could absolutely play, for sure. But most people don't know that either. So my neighborhood high school is known for their band. Okay. So if I went to high school in my neighborhood, I didn't get the M transfer, I was just going to play football and be in the band. Okay. Most likely just the band. And if I got into this other school, the better one across town, I was going to play all my sports. I wasn't going to do any band. Mm-hmm. Got into the rest is history from a sports standpoint. Thankfully, I got into that school, and that's where I went on basketball, tennis, track, and football. Okay.
So when you were in high school, were you highly recruited for college?
No, my freshman year, I couldn't run because in high school, if you have a transfer, it's like a red shirt year. You can't do anything your freshman year competitively outside of freshman sports. So wasn't on varsity that year. My sophomore year, I made varsity track. I was pretty good. I think I got like my first offer from like an NAIA school after my sophomore. So I only had like 2 offers. Okay. And then after my junior year, picked up a little bit more traction. So I got like some D1 AA small schools in state. And then my senior year, like it wasn't like the floodgates just open from an offer standpoint. I think I might have had like in total D1 committable offers, like 5 or 6.
Okay.
So, and they had like 2 in football. So I took that route, and me and my best friend collaborated, ended up going to a school called McNeese State University. That's where I started my collegiate career on a scholarship, and went on from there to a transfer to LSU, and the story just kept being written.
You and your friend collaborated.
Yeah. So I grew up, my best friend, Tevin Remo, shout out to him, was like, we're going to go to school together. I was smarter than him. He knows it. So I could get academically, I was able to get into every school I wanted to go to. From an ACT standpoint and a GPA standpoint, I can get in wherever I wanted to. So, but he was a better athlete. So he was a very better athlete. So he had more offers than me, but he couldn't go to every school because he couldn't get into every school, like admissions wise. Mm-hmm. So we were supposed to go to Louisiana Tech. That fell through because he couldn't get in. I got into Tech and he didn't get in. Okay. So, but we both could go to McNeese State. So we both ended up getting recruited there, and that's where we ended up both going. Like at first we were kind of anti-LSU, and then it like just life developed. Because I remember like me and my brother, my god brother, we was like also anti-Greek. We didn't want to like be in a frat or anything like that. So I ended up going to LSU and being in the frat. Okay. Like both things. Like I said earlier, like you can design all types of things for your life, but God has the ultimate say, right? Like, you're not doing that.
Yeah. That's funny. We playing all day.
Yeah, you thought that was a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So you started at McNeese. How long were you there before you transferred? And
I did 2 years at McNeese State. Like I said, nothing in my life has been easy, just kind of a walk in the park. It was always adversity. So, from academics to being on the track to competing to injuries to, a health condition that obviously we later found on about that I was fighting as I was in college in those early years and later years. So, my first few years, I just felt like I had a greater calling. It was a prestigious university that I was already at. But I know if I wanted to be the person that I wanted to be on and off the track, I needed to go do bigger things. Yeah. Right. And that was always my mindset, be the biggest person in the arena, and put yourself on that stage, so that was my goal.
Okay. So you transferred to LSU, but it's no like walking in the park.
Oh, no.
It's a hurdle. Literally.
It's a skyscraper. So I know we talked about it previously. So my journey to LSU, right? Let me see. My journey to LSU. So I was on full scholarship at McNeese State, one way or another. I was on full scholarship at McNeese State. Told my mom, I'm out of here. I'm withdrawing. I'm quitting the team, and I'm going to LSU. I'm gonna run track at LSU. Lo and behold, I was not admitted to LSU. I had not talked to the coaches at LSU. I had not even looked at apartments at LSU. I was just like, I'm going. It's going to work somehow. So I started doing, and I've always been one, a researcher, do my due diligence, call the right people, do the right thing. So I started my process of transferring to LSU. And found an academic advisor that I was supposed to talk to, put my application in, did all this stuff. Turns out I had to take like 12 hours in the summer to be able to be in consideration to be admitted. And just fast forward, I ended up doing that to help some of my frat brothers. They helped me out with my courses and stuff like that, trying to get through that summer and still trying to train too and stay in shape. And then I finally, probably this whole process started in April, probably June, July, I got into contact with the track coaches, which was a process in itself. Because essentially, if you're not on a scholarship there, you have to try out at LSU, right? So I left my scholarship and walked on to LSU. God willing, later on down the road, I ended up on a full scholarship just because I know the system. It works with scholarships and tops in state and different type of stuff like that. So I was on beyond the full scholarship by the time I got finished at LSU. But I had to jump through a lot of hoops and go over a lot of hurdles to get there, get on the team, not only just get on a team, but get a release. Because today, in today's day and age in sports, it's kind of willy-nilly. It's a war zone for collegiate athletics. Like you can get paid, you can transfer whenever you want to. Back then, you had to get a release to transfer. You had to get permission to contact, all different types of stuff. So if I'm trying to do all that for a school that already doesn't even know who I am,
right?
It's like, I guess. Yeah. So, ended up having a red shirt my first year going to LSU. Wasn't eligible, so technically wasn't on the team. So therefore, I had to train myself a whole nother year as I sat out. But I'm a great networker. I'm a people person. So made some great friends as soon as I was there. Like I said, I'm an alpha. So some of my frat brothers was there too. And made a lot of friends, tried to be social. And, so the track standpoint and the academic standpoint was one thing. It was just some more hoops and hurdles once I finally did get there, which was a whole nother chapter after I got into school. Yeah.
Yeah. So you finally get there and you're on the track team at LSU. You walked on. What was that journey like for you? Because at this point, you're later on in your collegiate academic career, right? Do you have hopes of becoming a professional track and field athlete? Is there a reality that's setting in? What that look like for you?
So at that point, I don't think at any point in my collegiate career was I trying to be a professional athlete. Okay. I knew I was always good at biological sciences, science, anatomy, physiology, that type of stuff. So I was more concerned of finding my journey in my career path. And that's what it was there for. However, I was trying to be the best version of myself on the track. So whether that led to a conference championship, national championship, me just being a team leader and a team captain, whatever role I needed to play on my team, I was trying to do that to the best of my abilities. Right. So I was like that unsung hero for a lot of reasons that had nothing to do with me crossing the finish line first.
That's good.
So in which also went into my story of who I was at LSU and who I still am at LSU on many different fronts. But initially getting there was really tough because I was in a new environment, brand new school that they didn't want me to be at. The classes were way harder. I talked to you about it before. I think my first semester, I had like a 1.7 or 1.8, but I had a really high GPA at McNeese State, so it leveled out, thankfully. So still, once again, that spring semester, I'm still not eligible, but I just doubled down on my hard work. Started working kind of in a field that I wanted to be in, started some internships, started working in like corporate wellness, PT tech, because at first I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. Okay. Then I looked into and that was going to take like 1,000 years. So I looked into athletic training. That didn't make enough money. I looked into physical therapy. Physical therapy was cool, but I didn't want to work with the geriatric population. I wanted to work out being sports. Okay. And then lo and behold, after my first year there, I started paving my way and finding my way officially on the team. Grades are up. Started paving my way of who I was going to be as an adult, young adult. So you see all these things that you don't want to be. Yeah. And as you're at LSU, you spoke to how good, you're a good person. I think that speaks for itself, right? You easily make friends and you start building a network. Right. And you see a void that needs to be filled in the football. Right. So from a performance standpoint, by trade, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, right? By trade, and also a manual therapist. So my goal was to blend the gap between, first of all, strength conditioning and physical therapy. So return to play, and then also bridge the gap between speed and agility training and football and true strength conditioning, corrective exercise and track and field. There's huge gaps there, right? Because the people leading strength conditioning and corrective exercise and track and field aren't always the best. It's a lot of track coaches that just try to do stuff that either they did or they read in the book. And then a lot of football coaches, strength and conditioning coaches are like meatheads, weight room guys that read a couple books and think that they also know speed development. So I was like, man, I feel like I have a great blend of the two from a beginner standpoint. Let me start there, right? I had a really great strength coach, Jake Riedel. He was my strength coach at LSU for the track team. But even then, his knowledge, I feel like, was limited because he didn't run track. He wasn't a track and field guy. He didn't know the physiological demands of what we went through on the track, and I did. I felt like it was going to be easier for me to learn the weight room and also with my knowledge of actually going through the sport. And I was like, man, I can be really good in this. And from a national standpoint, from the strength and conditioning side, there wasn't many people who had done it.
Okay.
And that's what my career had. I wouldn't say that I'm the first, but somebody from a universal standpoint, there's probably less than 10 notable people that have been in boxing, basketball, football, track and field, baseball at a very high level. Mm-hmm. So everybody, any strength coach can train any sport, but being the main pillar in somebody's career at a high level for those various sports is something that I was able to hang my hat on later in my career. But starting off, I just wanted to be a collegiate strength coach.
Okay.
And that was my goal coming in. And that's what I focused my work on instead of, by that point, I started figuring out my career path. And it happened to be, this is the part that was tough for anybody to recreate. I was at LSU at a very high time. I started at LSU in 12. Started coming around LSU in 12. I ended in 16 and was even working there through 17, through 2017. So I was there from the Odell Beckhams and Jarvis Landry's, Ben Simmons, Leonard Fournette, Jamal Adams, Grant Delpit, Devin White, Alex Bregman, all these elite athletes from baseball to gymnastics, swimming and diving, football, obviously track and field. Those are my friends. Some of my teammates still competing in the Olympics that we just came from. So, I was able to blend practical experience, knowledge that I was getting from my degree. I'm graduating my undergrad in health sciences and my network. And not just the athletes. I was also big on being just a good person to everybody I came in contact with on campus. Administrators, directors, people that were in charge, people in charge of the CAF. I made sure that I was just being a good person, not really because I wanted to get something back, because I just wanted to have the knowledge of how systems ran and how people did stuff, in my surroundings.
That's good. That's good. So at this point, you're in junior, senior year.
Yeah. So junior year, I'm into everything now. Yeah. Like I said, grade's good. I'm on the team. I'm running. I'm competing. I'm doing everything I can get done. Networking, making friends. I've chosen my career path that I think
you had a really good internship too, right?
Yeah. So, but my internship came after I graduated.
Okay.
So I had some internships with Gail Hatch, some other stuff that I had to do for school while I was in undergrad, but I only did one post-grad internship, and that was with LSU football. I went from running track on a Saturday to immediately going into the weight room because my strength coach was also the intern program director, and they didn't have anybody on staff with a track and field background. So I brought something to the table, once again, from a beginner standpoint, that involved us into something much greater.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love this common theme of God just setting the tone in your life, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Everything, because even though you didn't go to play it professionally, he was setting the tone for what you would still service.
Still went pro somehow.
Went pro. Still went pro. Period. Still went pro. And what we're about to get into, right? It was a scare and a miracle at the same time, 100%. Right? So you're interning with LSU's football team, and it's a regular day, right? You about to go in for your internship?
Yeah, 4 a.m. And so this ended up being something that plagued me throughout my previous years, probably ending high school and then through my collegiate athletic years. I would always have, and people have heard this story, but I used to have stomach virus spells, the symptoms of a stomach virus, throwing up, but it wouldn't be food. It would be stomach bile, acidic yellow bile that I would throw up, terrible migraines. A lot of times I just kept it to myself. I would practice. There were 7 days in a week. I would practice probably 3 or 4 feeling terrible. But I had worked so hard to get to, even at McNeese, I had worked so hard to get to where I was. And I know that at LSU, it's a chopping block. Even if you're on scholarship, even if you're the best athlete on that team, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do consistently, you're going to get cut. So, and I knew in my predicament, in my situation, I had some coaches that were very realistic with what I had to do and what I was doing. And, so I was just kind of ignoring all the signs and symptoms of my illness. So in that, one day I'm about to go to work. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm having some stomach virus symptoms, but my migraine is so bad, I feel it in my teeth. So I'm disoriented. I called my boss at work. At that point, I had to call Eric Donovan, my guy. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the hospital real quick. I'm going to be a little late. I just want to let you know so y'all can cover my stuff. They was like, we got you. Go ahead. And so I go to the hospital. Funny thing about healthcare, like I feel like now that I watch Grey's Anatomy and a lot of House, I feel like I've been trying to diagnose stuff myself, like I'm a doctor or something. It's a sport. Yeah, literally. I feel like doctors are the best educated guessers in the world when it comes to health. So everybody that's seeing me there, probably some NPs, nurses and stuff like that are seeing me as soon as I get there. And they give me the regular stuff. They give me some fluids, some, electrolytes, check on me, check out my vitals. Nothing's wrong. I start feeling a little bit better because those spells I had, they were temporary. They'd go away in a little bit. Okay. Turns out this was just all pre-stroke symptoms.
Wow.
So thankfully, once again, we talk about God's will and favor.
But before that, what did they have an idea? Like, did they think it was?
No, they had no clue. No, I just thought I was dehydrated and sick. Right? Yeah, they was about to send me home. So they was about to discharge me, and I had a doctor that came in, and I was pretty prominent at LSU by that time, and he knew me from running track at LSU. I was a recognizable short guy that ran the 400 hurdles.
Big head,
big head, headband on, white headband, glasses, and he was like, "Man, we're gonna do a CAT scan just before you get out of here. Be sure." He did the CAT scan, came back like 20, 30 minutes later, like, "Man, I don't want to scare you, but you have a huge mass on your brain." It was like this big on my brain, pressed against my cranial nerve.
Wow.
I still have that scar across the back of my head, but huge. He was like, but at that point, when you have a mass, they got to find out what it is. Turns out I had a meningioma brain tumor that I had. So I don't even know how they age it. It's probably something else I need to learn on Google. I'm gonna ask TikTok. TikTok is like,
ask ChatGPT. He be knowing.
Hey, between ChatGPT and TikTok, they got all the answers. Yeah. Answers and videos. That's what TikTok is.
The new Google.
Literally, it's just got video explanation. So, turned out I had the brain tumor, so they had to give me to the MRI. They had to admit me by that point. Wow. Got me to the MRI. I always joke with my mom about this because I called her and told her when she finally found out, because if I missed it earlier. So my mom used to work crazy hours when I was growing up. She worked from 6 in the evening, 3 in the morning. It's like prime hours for a kid to get into mischief. So as soon as I got out of school, as soon as I got out of practice, I'm at home by myself, rocking out. So this around the time she's getting off trying to lay down, and I'm in college. I'm grown now, and I've always been super independent. So she never really had to worry about too much. I've always been a self-motivated, self-thinker, super independent, pay my own stuff, do my own thing, and I'm good. So I was like, hey, I got a brain tumor. I'm about to get in the MRI machine. You probably should come down here. I was like, I got to get out the phone though, so I'm gonna call you when I get out.
Wow.
Yes.
No, you didn't.
She probably broke a record getting down there. Like it was like a 3.5 hour trip. She had to get there in an hour and a half. Wow. But here, no, there.
My baby.
Yeah, she pedaled to the metal. So she gets there, man. And once again, like I said earlier, it's just that mindset of I was never scared at any point. Throughout that whole probably 2-week process, I was never like, this is something I'm not going to get over. This is not something I'm going to have a problem with. I'm fine. I'm still feeling invincible, which is a feeling I thought myself to have because I've gotten through so much. It's just another hurdle I'm going to have to get over.
Perseverance, yeah.
Yeah. So going on from there, I was admitted, and it was June 10th, 2016. It was the week of LSU's National Track and Field Championships. I had just started my internship, and my boss, the big boss, Tommy Moffitt, he always tells this story all the time because I had told him, I was like, man, I know how hard it is to get the internship. Don't give my spot away. I'm going to come back. And me not knowing, I knew, and I'm not going to say I downplayed the severity of it because brain tumor is serious. People die from brain tumors every day. It's a huge thing. And I'm just like, no, I'm going back to work. Like, I'm going back. Like, I've worked this hard to get this far in my career. This brain tumor is not going to derail me. And I told him, like,
bring me this far.
He wouldn't just to get this far. So, in essence, I'm like, bro, don't give it up. Mind you, the doctor just told me, bro, you might not walk, you might not talk, you might die. Like, you got to sign the paper for that. Like, you might die in this process of us having to resect this tumor. And, normally when people come back from any type of neurological surgery, you have to do rehab and relearn things and relearn how to walk a little bit. And for me, I finally got the surgery about 6 days after I was admitted. And I'm literally not exaggerating whatsoever on any of this. I woke up the next morning after surgery, hair wrapped. I got all the pictures and stuff. And I didn't think anything of it. I just woke up, turned the TV on. They had this I was at a really nice hospital too. Shout out to Our Lady of the Lake, Baton Rouge. You order your breakfast. I ordered my breakfast. The lady who brought it in too, she probably like a cafeteria worker, so she didn't know what just happened. She probably just brought my food in and he all right, head wrapped, whatever. And she left. My surgeon came in. He came in, looked. I looked. I said, "What's up?" He left back out. I said, "What's wrong, bro? He left out of here." He came back in with like 7 or 8 people. They were he probably just bragging. Like, "Y'all look, like he's up, like adamant." So they got me up. They immediately, it was like, "Can you stand up?" I got out the bed, walked around the whole ICU unit, and everybody's astonished because nobody in the ICU is mobile. That's not a thing. Like, you're in the ICU unit, you either on your deathbed or in critical condition. Intensive care unit, that's what ICU is. So, I was in the ICU probably like another few hours. They did a whole bunch of tests on me, cognition tests, vitals and all that stuff. Got me out of the ICU. I was probably out of the hospital 2 days later. Wow. And I went back to work 10 days after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went back to work 10 days after brain surgery, getting a tumor
like
removed.
Not even like a little one. Like, a lot of people have masses and tumor stuff that
Didn't
sometimes
you say it was the size of like a tennis ball?
Yeah, like a golf ball.
A golf ball.
So, which is on your brain. That's huge. Your brain is only so big. So, and like that's not a normal thing, because a lot of times you get tumors and masses and stuff like that, and sometimes they're not even surgical. Like I remember my little sister, she had one. It was in her nasal cavity. But it was something that she just had to take some medicine for. She took some medicine, they shot something in there, and she was fine. So with that being said, I was like, and I remember making a big deal when she happened to her. I was like, "Oh my God, I gotta go down there." Because I have 2 sisters, and I'm like, world's ending.
And this is before you.
This is before me. And here I am with a real like life-threatening one. And like just off like
peace of the Lord.
Yeah.
Wow.
So much peace and so much grace in anything that I've been through. So I was just real thankful for coming out on the side of that. And it just gave me a whole nother outlook on life and how I approached it, how I approached any other adversity that I went through or problems. Just another hurdle.
Yeah, just another hurdle.
That's it.
Wasn't that like the headline on your news thing?
Yeah, literally.
Because you had like nationwide coverage on this, right?
Right.
Yeah. Wow. His love, his mercy. Like all I'm thinking about is by his stripes we are healed, right? On that cross, all those wounds for years, decades, centuries later, your tumor.
Right.
Wow.
And I'm just grateful because it could have went the other way.
Yes.
I could have, but I'm not the only. That
wasn't in his plan for you.
Exactly. I'm not the only prayer warrior in the world. I'm not the only person I'm just grateful for that grace and mercy to be able to have been selected to keep on rocking out.
To keep on moving in purpose.
You're right.
Yeah. Wow. Like I speak highly of you because I've seen it close, right? How I actually know Mo, I was training for a project. In the role, I was supposed to be playing basketball when I first auditioned and I booked it. I was supposed to be playing basketball. So I got the opportunity to train with Mo alongside Lay at times, right?
Yep.
And so when y'all made it to the Olympics, I was like,
we there. Yes! We made it. That's what everybody was.
I felt like, oh my God.
I built a whole little village around my girls. That's my dog right there.
Yes. And like I feel like your fruit speak for itself, right? So not only were you her coach, right? You took under your wing. Yeah. So tell us about that. Right?
So track and field is similar to professional track and field. It's similar to golf and tennis. Like you are wherever your coach is, full time year round. Like for instance, even the Olympics, you go for 2 weeks and you come right back. Like my other athletes, they go to their team for 5 months, 6 months. And, I see them intermittently, but I don't control everything that they do.
Right.
I control everything. Like I have some of my higher level athletes like Ja Morant, where I have more input on his day-to-day, 365 days a year. Okay. But even in that, you still have your team personnel. You still have a full staff, a full organization behind you. For track and field, especially when you're unsponsored, you just have your coach for real and whatever they can build around you. And thankfully, I have a situation where it's like at schools, at universities, like football, baseball, basketball, they're money sports, the revenue generating sports, and they pay for everything else. That's the same type of explanation that I gave to like my bosses and stuff when I worked at these different places. Like, hey, coming in, track and field is a passion project for me. It's not going to make us some money. It's actually going to cost us money, but I can bury this overhead in my other sports, right? I know how P&Ls work. I have my own COE, CRMs, all that type of stuff. But that also comes from, like I told you back in earlier, being at LSU, everywhere that I also learned about the business of everything I did. So I just wasn't a jock. So in that, just build and let lay. She came in, she stayed with me. Cause I had apartments with multiple bedrooms. She stayed with me. And so because where she was first in Dallas, so I met Lay. She was running track while I was running track. So she just went to Oregon. So I'm a couple years, I'm 3 years older than Lay. So I'm not too far removed from the collegiate scene. I'm getting older, I'm getting up there. So I ain't be able to say that too much longer. And so I didn't know her personally in track and field, but LSU, Oregon, there's two of the biggest track schools in the country. So we crossed paths. So in 2019, I was working in Dallas, and she also was training in Dallas with a different coach. And, she was trying to find her way. She was also trying to find her purpose in this sport because she had so much belief in herself. She knew that there's some way I can make this work. I don't have all the answers. I just need to keep seeking the people who have the answers. Right? So I did remotely 2019, 2020, well, really 2020. I did her strength conditioning stuff, which is what I was doing when I supported the last two Olympics. A lot of just like weight room stuff for guys remotely. And then she finally just hit me up like, hey, I know you're in Florida. This is not working for me. I'm working like 3 jobs. I'm traveling probably 3 hours a day cumulatively to get from weights to work to training and all this stuff. Like, will you just train me full time? And I was like, first I was like, no, because I had it sweet. I'm good. I never wanted to be a track coach running track because I knew financially what that meant. Like track coaches don't make a lot of money. There's a 1% of everything. Of actors, actresses, tech people, athletes. There's anything that you do, even at an elite level, there's the elites of our professions. And if you're not in that 1%, then you're not making that much. So I wanted to focus on what was going to make me the money. She asked me a couple more times and it just came over me, I said, okay, hey, this is what we're going to do. I laid it all out for her. I'm going to give you the same resources that I give to basketball, football, boxing, the best medical, because there is a disparity in women's sports to male sports and the resources that they have. The WNBA team didn't get to live the same life at the Olympics that the NBA team did, even at that high level, so they live good. But there's a difference between how LeBron James move around and another top WNBA athlete. There's differences. So I was trying to, what I was successful in doing was giving her those same resources and allocated my time to support her in her track and field endeavors. And it was a learning process for both of us, her learning how to be a competitor on and off the track at a high level, and me getting back into track and field at a high level, from the full coaching side, not just weight room, but everything on track, hurdle training, everything. And shoot, it ended up working out, She was my only track and field. Since then, I've had 2 more with opportunities. I probably could have had 10 or 12 track and field athletes. Now, when they saw what we did, so in 3 seasons, our first season, she reset all of her personal records. She made 2 world championship teams. The second year, she could have made the world indoor championship team because she won indoor nationals, but they canceled it. I think it was in China, Tokyo, whatever. Something was going on over there. They canceled it. She missed the outdoor world championship team by 1 spot because she hit the 10 hurdle. And then this year, being the 3rd year, she made the Olympic team. She had a great indoor campaign, came outdoors, made the Olympic team, Olympic finalist, 7th place, and was likely 1 hurdle away from winning the whole thing. If she didn't hit hurdle 3, I got my money on her winning the whole winning goal. But it's just another testament in itself of, just being the person that pours into people. right? And sometimes, I pour, and the cup is at different levels at different times. Sometimes I pour from a full cup. Sometimes the cup is half full. Sometimes it's doggone near empty and I'm still pouring in other people. But I feel like that's my purpose. That's my passion. That's my why. And by no means am I perfect. I have my own flaws and faults. But, I try to, at the end of the day, do what's right by people, no matter of what they can give me back. Like, there's no way they can repay me or do something for me, monetarily any other way for all the stuff that we've done over the last 3 years and will continue to do through the next Olympics, because we said we're going for one more. But me seeing any of my athletes win in what they call life, that gives me purpose in saying that, okay, hey, I wasn't the big time professional athlete, but I am one of the main stars in the supporting cast for these athletes to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be.
Past service. That's amazing. That's generosity. That's just selflessness.
100%.
So for that, you'll be forever blessed,
Thanks. I'm here. Might as well.
You would.
I made it.
You will. I believe at least, the disciples here on earth, like that's one of things we're called to do.
Right.
Right. So this is the fun part of the episode, where we have a game called In the Evidence, all right? It's a card game.
It's original.
This is
not,
all right? It's an original game.
This is not Uno. This is very new. This is
here on the potty, okay? But, okay, so I'm going to throw these your way. No, actually, I'm gonna read them to you.
Okay.
All right.
How many are we doing?
We're going to do probably like 2 or 3.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Would you rather
Here we go.
spend 40 days and nights on Noah's Ark or 40 years wandering in the desert?
I think I did see this in passing. All right, so I'm going to let you choose the time.
Okay.
Is it current or is it back when it happened?
I want to hear both.
Okay.
Okay, but let's start with modern day.
Modern day, I'm on the Ark. At this point, it's a cruise ship. Like it's modern. We got TV probably. Like the animals are in a very good place. We can go see them, pet them, talk to them, feed them.
Petting zoo at this point.
It's a petting zoo at this point, so
And we got
I'm
to
like,
everything.
I would much rather do that than like be on 4-wheelers in the desert. Like
What,
riding around trying
cruise
to
line would it be?
figure it out. Oof.
If it was modern day.
Which one is not? Is it Royal? Is that the okay one? I've never been on a cruise. I've never been on vacation.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I've never been on vacation. A lot of people see me travel a lot. So, but anytime I've ever been on a trip, 99% of the time, it's something work related. I have to do something work related on that trip. So, but yeah, I'm on the ship. I think I'm on the ship. Oh, during what it happened, I might have took the desert. Because
Why? Yeah.
I know he's worked hard on that ship. It's just my luck that I get on the ship and the ship just sink or something. I don't know. I don't know. So the waters are treacherous. We might run out of food.
But God told him to do it. Y'all like thinking.
So, in the desert, I don't like being thirsty.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's hot.
The climate is changing. If it was modern day, it is hot outside.
It's hot. So I don't know. I probably took the shit both times.
Yeah.
Both times, yeah, both times.
Yeah. All right, bet. Next one. Let's go. What's a recent answered prayer in your life?
Oh, a recent answered prayer. I prayed prior to Olympic trials. Okay. Obviously. I prayed that because seeing Lay go through everything that she's been through, and, seeing how hard we worked to get to the Olympic trials. And then she went viral for her reaction after she made the team. Like, that was an answered prayer for sure. Like, that was like a plea. And not even for me. Like, I'm like, once again, selfless. I was like, one, God, please, because I don't know what I'm going to say to her after if she don't make it. So it's like, it's like I've seen it all very firsthand. Like, I can't get any more firsthand than this, answer this prayer for her, myself, her entire village. And, she went out there and he worked through her and she crossed that finish line where she needed to. And, off to Paris.
Wow.
Polo down. Polo down. That was huge.
Yeah, right. like, yeah. Did she have like an Oakley too?
Yeah. She has an Oakley contract, so that's her only sponsor. She don't have a primary deal, so she's unsponsored in that regard. Her only sponsors were Oakley.
Yes, I love that for her. She's a little fashionista.
Yeah, she is. She makes all her own uniforms and everything.
Yeah, Navy fly,
she be holding it down.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you already kind of talked about this a little. But what does serving others look like in your life?
Serving others, I mean, that's the big love language for me, acts of service. So I just do that through my gift. Serving others means that, whether it can be that I can go give back to my high school because my gift has afforded me the resources to be able to say, I can call Nike and say my basketball team needs shoes, or I can go and give out like these last couple of years, giving out scholarships in my high school, or just giving my gifts and making sure that these athletes and other people just reach their own personal goals. So that's what really serving others looks like to me, and also mentorship for people that are in the same or similar professions.
Amen. That's good. That's good. I saw this card just now, and we were only going to do 3, but I'm going to do 4 because it's kind of funny.
Okay. So
your fiance tells you an angel visited her, and now she's pregnant. What would you do?
In 2024?
In 2024. Today. Tomorrow. Right now.
Right now, today.
Ring, ring, ring. I'm pregnant. Your fiance.
You, angel.
Phone's on you. An angel.
I might immediately hang up.
You hanging up?
I need to go. I need to see you. See me. Hey, we need to have this conversation face to face. Cause what? What do you mean? I can only imagine. Like, I'm into like those old shows, like the medieval, like not even just Game of Thrones, like all the other medieval time shows. Cause I'm always fascinated in like, what was the first time somebody, like random thoughts, like what was the first time somebody made a belt? Like how revolutionary was that? Like simple stuff. Like y'all were going without so much back then. Like rich crowd, like people believed in all type of crazy stuff back then. And it's like, and
even today.
Yeah, even today. So I'd be like, back then, I would have really quick. First of all, there wasn't a phone back then for the call, so I don't know if she wrote a letter or she sent the pigeon. Yeah, she sent the raven, and she got the message to me. Either way, that raven gonna have to go tell her come home, so we can have a conversation about it. But now, I probably would hung up. I wouldn't believe that.
It would, yeah.
You call me and you telling me that you my angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna have to go make sure. Let's go get everything checked out. Yeah, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna talk to the Lord. We're gonna have to go talk to the therapist. We're gonna have to go talk to everybody. There's some conversations to be had for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up on the game. We don't got that much time left. So let's just get into some reflective questions. Okay. All right. What is one area in your life where you feel God is calling you to grow?
Oh, I feel like God is calling me to grow off what I always say this, off the track.
Off the track.
Because I talked to you in passing about it. Like in my 20s, as I just got into my 30s, I neglected a lot of my personal stuff. Right. I wouldn't even say my relationship with God because, I've been pretty steadfast there, even though like my median and my mode of how I did that changed. But holidays, birthdays, my family, I neglected a lot of that stuff. I haven't been in real serious interpersonal relationships. And I think that it was time for me to make a shift and change in that regard too. And also amplify my relationship with God too. So I think that's what I do everything in like increments of 5 and 10 years. So like my 30s is really about, I've paved the way in my career, and obviously I'll continue to grow there until I retire. I don't plan on retiring, by the way. So I'll plan on forever, ever. But I think it just looks different in how I operate off the track, and being more mindful of where I go, being more mindful of who I'm with, being more mindful of why I'm doing certain things, and what that may lead to, and also just being around my family more too.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. So how do you practice gratitude in your daily life?
How I practice that, I would have to say I'm intentional with, we talked about this as well, but with my meditation, you know, and just being, I think everything is mental. Everything that you do is mental, right? So you control every thought that pretty much, to me, that happens in your head, you know, and if you don't control every thought that comes to you, you control how you process those thoughts. You control how you process those emotions. And I think I practice that gratitude. I feel like I practice that gratitude by how I respond to certain things and being grateful and graceful in anything that comes across my plate. And also starting every day verbally expressing my thankfulness for waking up, being able to go do something that I love to do every single day, and just not letting any type of negative thoughts overcome me, because that is a natural thing, right? You wake up and you could be mad about your dog peeing on the couch, or you can be mad about this person said this about you on social media. There's so many things that can distract you from your overarching goal for the day, the week, the month, the year, decade. And, you know, I think it's a self-centering type of thing, finding gratitude and being graceful in the midst of all that, and finding the good in any situation or thought that you may be having.
That's really good, because, you know, in the word we hear, it says to take captive every thought, right? So that's a really great point. That's a really great point. So your episode and your journey, right? I think it sums it up to 2 Corinthians 5:7, right? So what does it mean to you to walk by faith and not by sight?
I feel like I'm the embodiment of that. Like, well, I told you, I went to LSU. I didn't have an acceptance letter. I didn't have a letterman patch. I didn't have anything. So I feel like that's been everything. Like, even with me applying to jobs and going different places, like, my career is based on decisions, and my decisions have always been led by God. So I feel like I have made, for the majority, great decisions that placed me where I needed to be, when I needed to be at, right? The decision for me to leave New York City with one of the top companies after I left my graduate assistantship at LSU to come back to Louisiana, to move to Dallas, to leave IMG Academy and move down here, like where I met you. If I never left IMG, I don't meet you. We're not sitting on the couch.
Right.
So I feel like it's always been, my steps have always been ordered and guided in the place that they want to be. So I feel like that is the embodiment of walking by faith and not by sight, because if I just walk by what I see, I'd be walking into a wall.
You wouldn't be.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be where you at.
For sure. For sure.
So what advice would you give your younger self, or someone who may be experiencing some of the things that you've gone through?
I think if I can give myself my advice to my younger self, first of all, I want my younger self to be proud. Right? Because everything that you dreamed for yourself has pretty much come through. Now, has it been easy? No. But everything that you've pretty much seen for yourself to some capacity has come true. So I would say, first, be proud. And I would say, just be correct, keep being courageous and confident in yourself, and to anybody else that's trying to do what I'm doing or anything similar, or anything in life. It don't even have to be relative to what I'm doing. You know, just be courageous. Like, if you think it, you can achieve it, you know. Now, there are parameters around it. I'm not saying you can go out there and race Usain Bolt and win or beat him in a race. But realistic, like, there are, like, it just takes hard work. So I would say, just keep working, keep being courageous, and just don't lose sight. It's easy to lose sight of things. Like, it's easy to get distracted and go by the wayside. I would say, just stay steadfast in your purpose and in your journey.
Amen. Amen. Well, as we sum this episode up, we're going to end with a question, and I want you to fill in the blank.
Okay.
So, in the evidence of my life lies?
I would have to say purpose. Everything that I've done and everything that I've decided to do has been purposeful and intentional. And I live that 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Like, I feel like if you could characterize me, you could say, like, in the evidence, like, he's just purposeful and intentional.
Amen. Amen. Well, Mo, thank you. Season 1.
Ooh, make some noise, y'all.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of In the Evidence. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend. Check out the description below for our link to our website, intheevidence.com. Once you get there, tap the top right corner and share your testimony. We want to hear your stories, want to hear what God's doing in your life. I'll see you guys next week. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to keep in touch with all of our guests, make sure you follow them on all platforms.
It's in the evidence. It's in the evidence.